concept of purity. A pure substance is one which contains only one type of substance. That could be an element or a molecule. For example, if I had pure oxygen, if I could zoom in and have a look at the atoms and molecules that make it up, I would see only oxygen atoms in that substance. If I had pure water, if I could zoom in and have a look at the only atoms I would be able to see would be hydrogen and oxygen bonded into water molecules. So a pure substance contains only one type of molecule or atom. If there's something else in there, then we say that it is impure. And the unwanted materials are known as impurities. So how can we tell if something is impure or pure? Well, there's a simple laboratory test. What we can do is we can take a solid sample of the substance, or if that's not practical, we often start with a liquid sample, and we can measure its temperature while we supply a constant supply of heat. So we heat it up and we measure its temperature at set time intervals, every 30 seconds, every minute, every 2 minutes. And we plot the results on a graph, and the graph will look like this. If you have a pure substance, then the shape of the graph will look like this here. If you have an impure substance, then these lines that you can see here, they will not be nice, sharp, horizontal lines. They'll be curves. If you know the substance that you are working with, you can also check the melting and boiling points. So for example, this substance here, we start with a solid sample. At this time here, we've got a solid sample, and we start to heat it up, and we measure its temperature. At point A is where we start to heat it. Between point A and point B, the substance is a solid. It is a solid that is getting hotter. However, we don't stop adding heat. We're still adding heat. Notice the temperature does not increase when we get to point B. That's because the energy from the heat is now going to overcoming the intermolecular bonds. So between point B and point C, the substance is melting. Once it reaches point C, those intermolecular bonds have been broken and it's now a liquid. It's a liquid between point C and point D. It's still a liquid at that point, it's just getting hotter. The temperature is increasing. Once we hit point D, again, the temperature doesn't increase, but we're still adding heat because the heat energy is now going to boil the substance. At point E, the substance is now a gas. You can add more and more energy, and in chemistry above gas, there's no other state of matter, so it's just going to keep getting hotter and hotter and stay as a gas as those particles get more energy to move around. So we can use a graph like this to determine the melting and boiling point of an unknown substance. So all you do is you draw a line from the melting point to this axis, you read it off, and that will be the temperature at which a substance melts. That's its melting point. Same goes for the boiling point. This will be the boiling point. If you have a substance that you know the melting and boiling point, such as water, you'd expect this to be 0 degrees Celsius and this to be 100 degrees Celsius. Remember that that's only true for water. Different substances have different melting and boiling points. However, if you've got impurities, then these melting and boiling points will be at a different height. They'll be at a different temperature. That's how you know you have impurities. So if you boil some water and it boils at a different number, boils at something that isn't 100, then that is going to be that is going to have impurities in it. And in fact, impurities change the boiling and melting point of a substance in predictable ways. If you have an impurity, the boiling point raises and the melting point lowers. So if you have a sample of water and you find that it melts at anything below 0, so -2 degrees Celsius, and it boils above 100, so 101, 102, 103 degrees Celsius, you know that there are impurities. If you don't know the boiling and melting point of a substance, if it's a substance you don't know, you can use this to determine it. And also, if these aren't nice lines, like I said before, if it's more of a curve, you know that you've got impurities because the different substances in the mixture will boil and melt at different temperatures. That is purity of a substance. Thanks for watching.